Hey guys, what's up? Figured I'd do a video discussing the Imperial City and the changes that have occurred, and just kind of go over all everything the Imperial City has to offer. Probably won't hit every single facet of this DLC slash patch, but I'll do my best. So first, I'll start with the Imperial City kind of brought into the game. They first brought in this giant PvE zone that has PvP possibilities in it. And along with that, they brought in pretty much new in-game gear, very awesome PvP sets, as well as some really good enchantments, such as the Prismatic that allows you to do additional damage to the undead and Daedra, and it gives you all three attributes that you can glyph into your armor. So that's something I definitely want to play around with in the future. On top of that, the PvE content overall is pretty challenging, and I really enjoy that. It's not like the majority of the quests in the game where it's just, easy as cake, but it's one that if you're a very good solo player, you can get through it fairly well enough, as long as you don't rush in Leroy Jenkins style. But it makes it also so if you actually group up with people, it's not too easy all at the same time. Unless of course you run with the Zerg, then there is no challenge. But anyways, on top of that, they also fixed some broken mechanics in the game, such as like dodge roll spamming, block spamming, shield stacking. They kind of pretty much made it so those aren't so much of an issue anymore. I mean, you can still dodge roll spam if you want to, but there's a punishment for it. You start it starts costing more and more stamina, and you'll end up depleting all your resources. As far as people who like to block continuously, you don't regenerate any stamina, which a lot of people have issues with. I don't have too much of an issue with, because it does allow for more reactive combat style when it comes to tanking. It also makes it so people don't just hold down block the entire time, regain the resources and spam heals. As far as damage shield goes, relatively speaking, they took a harder nerf than damage did, and so they're actually a little bit easier to cut through now. Then there's also a wonderful PvP gear set called Shield Breaker, which is extremely useful against enemy opponents that use damage shields, and that goes for both PvE and PvP. You may not have run into too many bosses or bad guys that use damage shields in the past, but they're definitely present in the Imperial City. Other than that, the PvE content is pretty challenging, and I definitely enjoy that. It's soloable, thankfully, but it's not so easy to the point where if you group up with a buddy or two, it's just a face roll. Some things I really didn't care for when it came to the DLC patch is I feel like the damage reduction was a little bit too harsh. 50% from 20%. It makes it very difficult to 1vx. So far, I haven't done too much experimentation when it comes to fighting groups of people, mainly because Imperial City isn't really the best environment for that, considering you don't only have enemy players to fight, but also NPCs. And the NPCs in the Imperial City definitely hit hard. But 1v1 though, I actually find it a lot easier to 1v1 people in this DLC. I think it's mainly because of the changes to a lot of the mechanics I spoke of earlier. But other than that, and some other things I don't really care for is when it comes to the changes or the fix to the dodge roll mechanic. Now, if you were to dodge roll, there's a cooldown of 4 seconds. If you were to dodge roll again, it costs you 33% more, which stacks if you continuously dodge roll, so on and so forth. I don't mind that, although to be quite honest, I find 4 seconds maybe a little bit on the long side. I think 3 seconds would have been a little bit more appropriate, but besides that point, pretty much everyone that knows about that new mechanic, they're starting to spam immobilization abilities a lot more, and you see that when it comes to Dragon Knights. So the fact that people are spamming immobilization continuously, I think is a little bit of an issue, because it kind of makes it difficult for you to defend yourself against such a playstyle. As a Nightblade, we don't struggle too terribly much, and the reason being is because we have Ambush, which is considered to be a teleport, so we can just teleport straight to our opponent, even though we're immobilized. However, if it were up to me, I would make it so that dodge roll cooldown isn't activated as long as you are dodge rolling in order to break out of immobilization. But if you're not immobilized and you dodge roll, then the cooldown starts. Let's see. Other than that, when it comes to PvP, let's be quite honest, I don't really care for it too much in Imperial City. And the reason being is because if it were just like small groups or like more like small group or single person encounters, I wouldn't mind it so much. But this game isn't very punishing to Zergs. I mean, you can argue saying like, well, it is because the more people you have, the less Talvani stones you acquire. This is true. So it punishes them in that aspect. However, me as a solo PvPer, for the most part, sometimes I group up with some friends, but most of the time by myself, I don't like the idea of me losing 80% of my Talvar stones to a group of 20. I just don't feel like they deserve to take that much from me. I really feel like there needs to be some kind of mechanic or something in the game that reduces the amount that they take from you if they're in large groups. Like for instance, if you're fighting 2 people, rather than lose 80%, you lose 40%. You fight 3, it gets reduced to 20%, and then so on and so forth. I think that would be a very good like mechanic to bring into the game. Other than that, I feel like crafting is pretty difficult in this game when it comes to the VR16 material. The developers want to make it so crafting your gear was just as difficult as acquiring it via PvP. And I feel like they didn't accomplish that. I feel like they made it more difficult. For instance, I acquired a full set of Shieldbreaker and at VR15, and I had the capabilities of making at least one piece of VR16, and I don't even have enough material to forge a full set of VR15 item sets. So they definitely made it easier for PvPers to acquire armor sets than they did people who want to be crafters. And I don't think that's very fair. I think 10 times more material for VR16 is a little too harsh. I think 3 times would have been a little more in line. But other than that, my overall opinion is I do enjoy Imperial City. It is a lot of fun. I will be spending a ton of time in here. As far as longevity goes, I think right now it's gonna be pretty populated because it's new and people want to acquire that in-game content. Besides that, though, I feel like once people get everything they want out of Imperial City, they probably won't linger too much. Unless they need to come back for resources, especially if they come out with DLC that allows you to get all the resources you can acquire in the Imperial City elsewhere. So I think, yeah, it's busy now, but I think it's going to die down eventually. Other than that, the paradigm of the PvP content I feel like has shifted more towards resource management and regeneration that has to do with burst damage. Since fights last quite a bit longer, you definitely want to have a good resource pool as well as regeneration, otherwise you're going to burn out fairly quickly. I will say this though, as far as the damage reduction that they've done, it's made it very difficult for people to gank you. See, there was one time I was fighting a group of NPCs, and after I killed them, my health was roughly around 20%. Then a VR16 Nightblade jumped in and tried to get an easy kill on me. But because the damage reduction was so severe, he was unsuccessful and I was able to kill him, even though I had such very little health. If this would have been 1.6, he would have killed me easily with just 1 or 2 hits. So I feel like in this situation, the damage reduction is pretty nice, because it allows you to makes it easier for you to hang on to your stones. Although, personally, I would like to see it being reduced down to 40% from 50%. Other than that, pretty much I plan on keep on questing in here and try acquire in-game gear. And I plan on making a video very shortly, probably after this, on how to solo as a semi-based Nightblade in the Imperial sewers. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy this discussion. Please comment and leave feedback or ask questions maybe. But I'll catch you later. See ya.